Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very special event today. We're hosting, In Defense of Animals is hosting this, actually, it's a docuseries screening, and this is for Activist Appreciation Month. That's what we're celebrating here at IDA and everywhere else for the month of February. And as a special treat, we were able to speak with Thomas Jackson, who's a filmmaker who's joining us today. And my name is Lisa Levinson. I'm your host for this evening's event. I'm also the campaigns director at In Defense of Animals. And we're just very, very delighted to bring you this special episode, the very first episode of Compassion in Action, bringing the Elixir home. And this is a new docuseries that is the part 2 of a film called A Prayer for Compassion that Thomas Jackson produced and directed previously. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Thomas. Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Lisa. So glad to be here. Thank you for having tonight. It's a perfect night because I like to think of this docuseries as my love letter to activists, to animal rights activists. And when you see the whole series, you'll see there's a lot of, we travel to a lot of different places, to pig vigils, to sanctuaries, to all sorts of places. Even the first episode, we do a lot of traveling. So you'll get a good taste of what's what's to come. And I'm just happy to finally, I mean, everything's just almost complete. Like we've got to get the titles at the end a little bit finalized, and then we'll be ready to release it. Although the first episode you're going to watch tonight, I want to, on the Friday, I want to make it available to anybody who wants to see it. So it'll be made available. And then hopefully before the month's out, we'll have the whole series up.
Fantastic. That's such great news. Thank you so much, Thomas. We're thrilled about this, and everybody's very lucky to be able to see this episode just prior to it being available to everyone else. So you'll get this glimpse, and then you'll be able to see a more perfect version coming up very, very soon. So without any further ado, I think we'll go ahead and get this party started, as they say.
Yeah, well, I'll say one more thing.
Yes,
that the film, if you've seen A Prayer for Compassion, you don't have to have seen it to watch the docuseries, but if you have seen it, you'll realize we pick up exactly where we left off. So we pick up right in the woods where we left off, and we take you on this journey. So yeah, it's been in the making since 2018. So I'm happy to finally be done and let it go.
Whew,
I
yes.
hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to hear what people think after the show.
Yes, thank you so much. So you're welcome to put any comments in the chat box. You can also put questions in the Q&A and use the raise hands feature for our Q&A after we have some time to watch this episode, which we're about to do. So I'm going to do the honors of the share screen. So bear with me for a moment here, and then we will get the we'll get it open for everyone to watch. Okay, so got that buttons clicked. So it'll take me just a moment to navigate to the right spot here. And
when they're forced to tell the story, they will belittle it. And why is that? Look at the advertisers: meat, dairy, pharmaceutical. They are literally beholden to the very industries that are creating this crisis.
Nobody likes the idea that animals are slaughtered for our food. We just accept it as something that is necessary in order for us to survive. And it's not until you deconstruct that myth and build a new house on top of a new foundation that you can make that journey back towards that natural disposition of compassion.
What I discovered is that when one person is willing to take the lead, so many people are willing to step up and join the cause.
What's being revealed to us is the most beautiful purpose that we can all share in the most greatest life purpose that you could dream of, which is to bring life back and create a beautiful world.
Like I tell people, if something is important to you, no matter how hard it is, you'll be able to do it.
Because once you're compassionate with yourself, then you can be compassionate with everyone else. And I think that's really key.
Truth is like a lion. We don't have to defend it. We have to put it out there and it will defend itself.
The crackdowns, Murder King, Taco Hell, Wind Disease, Chokers, Bow Strangles, and the International House of Pulmonary Heart Disease. How can we take the food that they've grown accustomed to, they like the taste, make it healthy, and still get them to come inside and check it out?
A vegan is someone who doesn't want to hurt animals unnecessarily. Who wants to hurt animals unnecessarily? Nobody. Then you're all vegans.
All around this great big world, I'm gonna let it shine all around.
Imagine compassion encircling the world, and everyone loving each other, and all the animals free, and everything, with all the animals free, and all the people free, and everyone loving each other. And here we go. Lift our hands up and go. Or, not way up there, I meant just off the table. Okay, ready? And hands down a little bit more when we see your face. Okay, ready? And oh, let's do it one more time on 3. Let's start with me. Be loud. 1, 2, 3.
This is my daughter, Melody. She was the inspiration and the star of the documentary A Prayer for Compassion, where we explored the teachings of compassion at the heart of many of today's spiritual and religious traditions. It was her birth and discovering the devastating effects of animal agriculture on the planet that motivated me to make the film. Because as a parent, I'm very concerned about the world that our children and the children of all species are going to inherit. The lifestyles that we're choosing to live has totally disrupted the natural balance of the planet. According to a 2020 report by the World Wildlife Fund, human activity has wiped out nearly 70% of the planet's wild animals in just the last 50 years. And if we continue down this path of normalized violence, we're on track to eradicate all of the Earth's wild animals in less than a decade.
We are climate healers. Welcome to a vegan world. Welcome to a vegan world. Welcome to a vegan world by 2026.
We had our first public preview of A Prayer for Compassion at the first Vegan World 2026 conference in Mesa, Arizona. The conference was organized by Climate Healers and its founder, Dr. Sailesh Rao, who is a systems specialist and was one of the team of electrical engineers who actually created the internet.
I went through something very similar with the internet. We did exactly the same thing during the internet era. A whole bunch of people got together and we decided to create these documents that list out the best practices for how do you make any connection on the internet. Just best practices. In most cases, we just took what was already there and said that seems to be the best way to do it. And we endorsed it. And wherever they didn't know how to do it, we actually set up a task force and we figured out how to do it. And we wrote up this document and published it for free. So it was all done by volunteers. The entire internet was done by volunteers. Okay? So we all got to these meetings and we had to take off our corporate hats. We had to work as individuals. And our work product had to be given away. It was all open source. So that's the how of what we did in the internet. And that's exactly the how of what we are going to do the Vegan World 2026.
I just wanted the chance to publicly thank all of you for working on this film. It's meant so much to me personally. And when I've watched it, it's like I don't feel alone. I just resonate with so many of you, and I just want to thank you for that.
This is actually, it's a gift to everyone because you can use this film as a tool in your communities to do this sort of faith-based outreach and share it. This is what it's for.
After the preview screening of A Prayer for Compassion, we had what would be the first of many Q&As that I'd soon be giving.
What's that falling on your head?
Snow!
Did you finally find snow in New York?
Uh-huh.
After 6 years of looking, you finally found the snow?
Yep.
You like it?
Uh-huh.
Melody and I traveled to New York City for A Prayer for Compassion's world premiere and shared an Airbnb with our friends Maya and Carrie, who were also in the film. And Melody finally got to play in the snow for the first time.
Some called it my nose.
This is Shannon Blair reporting live for Jane Unchained. We are at the world premiere of the new documentary A Prayer for Compassion in New York City. And we have the filmmaker and the producer here. So Victoria Moran.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Jane Unchained people. We're so excited to be here and help people who identify as religious or spiritual open up to vegan values.
Hey, we're so excited you can join us tonight. We're having such a wonderful time. There's so many compassionate souls here, so many incredible people that were in the film and people that just have gravitated to this important message of compassion for all beings.
Maya just flew in from Israel and arrived last night.
Exactly, straight to the premiere. Straight to be with you guys. It's awesome over here.
You're excited to be here?
Super excited. Super exciting. It's just to see something from an idea to come into reality and to see all this festive and vegan feast over here. It's amazing.
For all the work we did to have the premiere and have it be sold out with 479 seats in the theater. It's just incredible.
Really excited to be here. Everybody, please go and see A Prayer for Compassion as soon as you're able to. There are going to be screenings all over, and after the screenings, then it's going to be available.
We have a very special guest who's actually a member of our host committee and quite a luminary in New York City. And guess what? He eats plants, and that is Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams.
For 22 years of my life, I spent being a protector and server of the city as a police officer, and I wore bulletproof vests protecting the children and families of the city. The latter part of my life, I'm going to wear that same psychological bulletproof vest as I protect the animals of this country.
I love your word about evangelistic. Let's say it.
Evangelical.
Yes, evangelical, because we want people to know we have this thing that makes us feel great, not only physically, but every person I interviewed started within 2 or 3 weeks their health improved, but within a year or two their connection to all of life felt, whether they came in for the environment, whether they came in for their health, they connected with animals, they connected with other people, they more deeply with their own spirituality, every one of them.
We're not trying to change any of our religions. We're just trying to elevate things that are in the religion and trying to get people to pay attention to it.
Believe it or not, churches work on money just like most other businesses. And you're getting this from a pastor, so you can pass it on.
Well, we all eat, and we all eat several times a day, and Jesus ate with his followers all the time. And so I love the fact that we have at least 3 times a day where we can worship God and show people how much we love his creation and love one another by how we eat, and it's just a way to bear witness, because we're going to eat every day, and you can just take that thing that we used to take for granted or just did quickly and just use it as a demonstration of your love for all creation.
Hey, my friends, I got something to tell. I got a tip that will help you stay well. Now is the time to go vegan. It'll help you feel young and healthy again. Not only will it help you, it'll help the ecosystem too.
After the premiere, Maya followed us down to Florida and we spent some time at Ruderville. And we even got to check out a new farm sanctuary called Critter Creek.
So this is Elvis. Yeah, he's such a baby.
Yeah. I always knew that some sort of animal sanctuary rescue thing was in my future. In fact, shortly after Chris and I got married, I told him, we're going to have to make enough money that we can buy a big chunk of property, and it's going to have a creek on it somewhere because it's going to be called Critter Creek.
Oh, so you knew the name before.
Yes,
Good.
I knew the name already.
Good.
And however many years later, here we are.
Well, usually in this age, they're already castrated and after removing their teeth and everything.
And their tails.
No tails, yeah.
Were they born before they came here?
The piglets, yes.
They're born in the Humane Society in Maryland. Do you plan on keeping them all? You don't do any rehoming?
There are some other sanctuaries that have said that they would take some of the babies once they're weaned.
You're a veterinarian?
I'm a veterinarian from Israel.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's wonderful.
And Thomas is the producer of this movie. It's very popular.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I didn't get. Okay. It's got
Did
his
you
name
see
right
the
on
name,
it. No, I have not seen it.
Oh, okay.
Then once again, we had to say goodbye to Maya as she flew back home to Israel.
All traditions teach us that there's going to be suffering. You're going to be on this planet, you're going to hurt your toe, you're going to fall down, you're going to suffer in some way. It's going to happen. Prepare yourself. If you haven't suffered yet, you probably will at some point, which I imagine most everybody has. But after taking this journey, when I look around, what I see around me is a lot of unnecessary suffering, especially in my family. I'm seeing people heal themselves of arthritis and of cancers and of heart disease and of all of these conditions, while I'm watching my family, people who are my age and younger, and going into the hospitals and having surgeries, having things cut out of them, having stents put in their heart, having all of these things done that I know are unnecessary. My cousin who had the heart stent, I went and visited him in the hospital, and that night they brought him his menu for the next day, and they had bacon on the menu. They were offering bacon after he had his heart stent, and I'm just like, oh my God. How much suffering do you really want to have?
We are here at the Factory Farm Experience. Our goal is to show people what's going on in the factories, on the farm, and where the food comes from. A lot of people just really do not understand what truly goes on there. I feel like the factories do a really good job of hiding that. So this is an experience for people to walk through to be able to understand where their food really comes from. The fish, the cows, the pork, all of the above.
Where are we going, Melody?
The Vegan Mac and Cheese Contest!
Woohoo! That's right, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Animal Hero Kids is going to have a vegan mac and cheese contest with 6 restaurants providing amazing mac and cheese. We're going to have Tori Washington, the bodybuilder, is going to be there. We're going to compare muscles. Vegan Evan and Shannon will be there, his mom. And we're going to make new friends and eat some yummy vegan mac and cheese, all for a good cause, all to help teach kids about being kind and compassionate to animals.
When I became vegan in the mid-1980s, I never would have thought there would have been so many explosions of vegan food on the market today. And what a change. And do any kids want to say anything about why they're vegan? Yes? Okay. Come on up.
Because animals don't want to die. It's healthier for you, it's better for the environment, and it's better for everyone overall.
After months of sharing the film in cities throughout the country, we'd finally organized a local screening where we'd be able to share the elixir of a compassionate vegan lifestyle with our non-vegan family and friends.
Alrighty. Is everybody ready? Yeah. Okay, I want to do one thing. Everybody, I'm going to count to 3 and we all take a deep breath together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Deep breath. We'll let it out. Afterwards, we're going to have a great Q&A. You can ask any questions, and I'll tell you about the next film and what's coming up. Thank you, and let's roll. Thank you, family, for being here. Thank you for having me. My family's here. They were in the movie. And, I appreciate each of you, and I love you all. And I'm going to take some questions, and then I'll tell you what we're doing next. Any questions?
I had a friend actually called me this morning and was talking about coming from Alabama family, eating meat, in the South, the deep South, all of a sudden wanting to look at being vegetarian. And this film is one of the best I could have imagined ever being made for that, because I mean, I've been resisting going from vegetarian to being a full vegan, and I always thought vegans were Nazis, and you don't even have to preach. I'm quite easily convinced, and I think just as easily someone who's going from meat all the way to vegan could easily be convinced without much preaching just by seeing this.
Though my mom and dad and the rest of my family said they loved the movie, none of them were ready to give a vegan lifestyle a try.
Where are we going?
London, Paris, Scotland.
All right, you excited?
Uh-huh.
Me too. We're about to take off on our international journey, sharing compassion all over the world. We're gonna make a compassionate world before it's over with, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, peace.
Plant-Based News and Brightzine invited us to visit the UK for a London premiere of A Prayer for Compassion at the Prince Charles Cinema.
This is a very interesting and special film. It's quite a different film, so it was quite a challenge to encourage people to come and watch it, because it's not often we talk about spirituality, religion and veganism, but it's a wonderful film and I think it will change many lives. And I'd like to obviously welcome the director, Thomas Wade Jackson, on the stage to talk about the film before we begin, and then we'll go straight into it. Thank you.
Cheers, London. Cheers. If you haven't been to Genesis, we found Genesis today. What a treat. By the way, I asked the guy, I said, is this because of the verse in Genesis? And he didn't know, but when I saw Adam and Eve, I'm like, yes, Genesis 1:29, everybody. And you'll see that in the film tonight. That's why I brought it. I just want to let everybody know I'm so grateful that you came out tonight. It's just really beautiful. This is mine and Melody's first trip to London, and we're having a wonderful time. Everybody's been wonderful in the vegan food. Oh my Lord, like everywhere you go. So anyway, the film is hopefully inspiring with a little bit of stuff that most of you already know. And if you don't know it, you should sit still and take it in and meditate on it. Thank you.
After the screening, one of my animal rights activist heroes, Earthling Ed, joined us on stage for our Q&A.
The first thing is to educate yourself, and then to practice. And so I always say, practice getting these arguments out, practice how you speak to someone. Get your partner to say something to you like, oh, protein, and then you respond to it going, protein from nuts and seeds and grains and legumes and the green vegetables. And so just get used to saying information, because I think part of the problem is often we get ourselves in a dialogue and someone says something and we're like, oh God, what do I say?
The next day, Melody and I got a chance to take in some of the magic and charm of London before we boarded a very crowded train bound for Aberdeen, Scotland. Once we made it to Aberdeen, we stayed on the rocky coast of the North Sea, right next to the remains of an 800-year-old castle, with our new friends Vishnu and Rebecca, who had organized our Scotland premiere with Vegan Outreach Scotland.
I started out trying to save the planet for our children, but in the end I came away going, there's so much unnecessary suffering, and it's all caused by the dollars we're laying down, the choices we're making. And if we meditated a little bit, decided that we should take care of our body temples, like every tradition that I explored has common things. Take care of your body, because the temple, it's a temple for the spirit. We're all connected by that spirit. That spirit animates everything. Whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care what you call it, but it's in you, and it's more solid when you're in alignment. So I know I'm preaching right now.
From Scotland, we flew to Paris, France, where a screening we were planning had fallen through. So instead, we got to be tourists for a day before heading back to Florida and our home in the woods.
She was 3 years old, and you know, her mom and side of the family, they're not vegan, but she lives vegan with both sides because she chooses to. And at 3, I said, you know, I love you no matter what you do. I want you to know this, you know. And she said, I want to be vegan. And I said, why do you want to be vegan? And she said, because vegans are cool. And I thought, that's pretty good. And then she said, and I trust vegans. And I thought, you're right. They'll never eat you. You know that.
I flew solo to Los Angeles for our LA premiere. And the next night, we had an outdoor screening and Q&A at the all-vegan organic cafe in Santa Monica.
If you're familiar with the distinction between a Torah principle and a rabbinic principle, a Torah principle being elevated above a rabbinic principle, the rabbis elevated the concept of Tsar Balei Chaim, not causing pain to animals, to being a Torah principle because of how many times it's spoken about in the Torah regarding treating animals properly.
The idea is to get these leaders to address this issue, because it's like an elephant in the room. You know, Al Gore, I tried to get him to talk about it. I was part of his climate reality project, and I spent a lot of effort trying to get him to talk about it. He went vegan as a result of that. All of his training is vegan, so anyone who goes to his training is now only getting vegan food. But of the 541 slides he gives to his people, there are 0 slides on veganism.
You're live on Lunch Break Live with the amazing director of A Prayer for Compassion. Tell us who you are and what you're doing here in California.
My name is Thomas Wade Jackson, and I'm here. Last night we had the LA premiere for our film. It was an amazing premiere. And we are going today, we're going to make some ooey gooey pasta. My daughter, who inspired the film and who is in the film, this is one of her favorite dishes.
Okay.
And it's my specialty, so let's do it.
All right, let's do it. There's a reason they call it the Food and Drug Administration. First, they need you to eat the bad food. Then they need you to get sick. Then they can sell you all these drugs. And we're starting to see how toxic this system is. And it's got to the point where the smart money is starting to see, hey, we all have to transition to a plant-based society because it doesn't matter how many billions of dollars a company or an industry makes. If there's nobody to sell to because humans have gone extinct, then it's a lose-lose. So this is one simple change. And the good news is people are waking up. And it's thanks to social media. The information that the young people are getting, they're getting through social media. They're not sitting in front of the boob tube watching commercials 24/7. They're on Instagram. They're seeing the pig gestation crates. They're seeing the slaughterhouse footage. They're seeing the pig vigils. They're seeing the cubes of truth. They're seeing the reality, and they're rejecting meat and dairy in droves.
While I was in LA, I visited my friend Jane Velez Mitchell and made her a little ooey gooey pasta. Jane is a television and social media journalist, author, and founder of Jane Unchained, a multi-platform social media news outlet that produces original video content on animal rights and a vegan lifestyle.
Here's how bad the media is, the mainstream media. Just the other day, there was a study that came out that said chicken is cancer causing. Several newscasters on a big show sat there making fun of that, joking, well, today they say it causes cancer, tomorrow, oh, they'll say the exact opposite. I know how these things go. Imagine if they had done the same thing about cigarettes or vaping. There'd be a national uproar. No, scientists have determined that chicken causes cancer. Take it seriously. But they're in the system that's profiting off of all of this, so they're just not going to report the truth responsibly. Do you think these newscasters who were making fun of the fact that scientists were saying chicken is cancer causing did any research? One Google search would show you that processed meat is cancer causing. The World Health Organization has determined that it's a carcinogen and that red meat is a probable carcinogen. So the evidence is there. And these mainstream institutions, like the media, just don't want to look at it.
At Jane's, I sat down for an interview with Supreme Master Television.
Having empathy for another's suffering, that's the first half of compassion.
If you only have that, you really only have empathy. The second half is to the point of being motivated to take action to alleviate that suffering. So the second half is being motivated to do something, you know? And so I like to tell people that, you know, eating a plant-based diet is doing something 3 or 4 times a day. You're taking an action 3 or 4 times a day to vote when you buy it and to take care of your body when you eat it, you know, and to be an example for those around you who are watching your health improve and your energy improve. So once I realized that compassion was an action, you know, I thought, yeah, I really want to make this about compassion.
We get together, we get together,
After a few days back home, Melody and I loaded up Sophia II and set out on a road trip to Kansas City to screen A Prayer for Compassion at the Unity Minister Conference.
I look at my role as awakening people who already have spiritual values of love and peace and harmony and mercy and all of those things. I know that when you live in alignment with that, in your actions, that everything changes inside you. Your body, your temperament, your everything. And you just feel so good and do a lot less projecting of what's wrong with the world. You feel more at peace with things. And so I look at my role more as awakening people versus telling them that mediating is bad.
We think we're good people. We like to call ourselves nice people. And yet this insidious thing that we're doing, exploiting animals whenever we're eating them or wearing them or using them for entertainment. Sometimes I think that dissonance in our soul results in some kind of unconscious self-loathing. Like we don't even know it's there. And that's another way that getting aligned with our values and our beliefs is it's a radical step in self-love. We release all of that dissonant energy and it allows us to just love ourselves.
While at the conference, I had the honor of meeting and interviewing Reverend Carol Saunders, an ordained Unity and Interfaith minister and the host of the Spiritual Forum podcast. She is also a vegan animal rights activist.
When Jesus went into the temple, and the story goes that he was upset at the money changers. But if you really look at scripture, he went in there and he turned the tables and he freed the animals. If you look at the scripture, Jesus did the most bold thing there is to do, to go into the temple and free the animals. And he ended up getting killed for it.
Hello, Tar Heel, North Carolina! We are the Save Movement, and we are here for the animals going to slaughter. We are here for the chickens going to Sanderson Farm Slaughterhouse. We are here for the pigs going to Smithfield Packing. And we are here for you who work for animal agriculture and deserve better. Animal agriculture hurts people, it hurts the neighbors. It hurts animals who are in CAFOs and who are going to slaughterhouses. It hurts our health because it gives us heart attacks. What do we want? Animal liberation! How are we gonna get it? Yes! Everybody go vegan. What do we want? Animal liberation! How are we gonna get it? Everybody's gotta go vegan! That's right. Here comes the truck.
Our next stop was in Tar Heel, North Carolina, where we joined other animal rights activists for a North Carolina Farmed Animal Save Pig Vigil, just down the road from the largest slaughterhouse in the world.
How many do they slaughter?
Between 33 to 50,000 every day.
Yeah, it's the one day we did a 24-hour, we counted 374 trucks, and each truck has about 100 pigs on it.
Yeah,
give or take.
We used to say it was 33,000, and one of the workers stopped us and said, "Hey, it's 50,000
a day. Yeah,
every single day."
I just checked about 10 minutes ago, and it is actually 100 degrees here in Tar Heel, North Carolina. Feels like 109.
I come to bear witness to these animals and give a little bit of love and tell them that we're sorry that this happened. They go to slaughter and they're killed.
Hey everybody, so we're on day 1 of the 5-day save, where we're doing, I don't even know how many actions we're doing in 5 days, but we're doing 6 tomorrow. So some people will just hold the sign and not approach the truck because they don't want to do that.
Right.
Some people approach the truck and just bear witness. Some people photo document, and some people spray water, either spray it on the pigs just to cool them down a little bit, or try to give water into, squirt it into their mouths.
They're too terrified to drink.
It's shocking. They're super hot. On a day like today, they're in heat distress. They're in a metal box they can't get out of. So
This is Thomas Wade Jackson, filmmaker of the newest amazing vegan documentary that is changing so many hearts and minds, A Prayer for Compassion.
I think people need to visit sanctuaries, and they need to come to the visuals like this, and they need to see both ends of it.
I agree.
They need to see the animals that are free and see the personalities and then see the ones here. They are shocked. They're trauma. Once you really know a pig and then you see a pig like that, you know that pig is shut down, that something in him has been broken, and it breaks my heart to think that any being, human, pig, chicken, any being is being broken in any way. We should all be free and able to live the life that God created for us. We all have a purpose, and we all have our own reason for being here.
I'm a evangelist because I have the gospel. What is the gospel? It's the good news. I have good news for you. I have good news for you, that if you align yourself with your spiritual values, and I'll tell you, veganism is aligned with every spiritual path I studied. If you align yourself with that, you will feel better every day.
All right, everybody say vegan.
Wow, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Thomas. I feel so privileged to be able to view this very first episode of Compassion in Action, bringing the Elixir home. And we have people who've joined us who are talking in the chat, and we also have a special surprise guest that is joined us, which is really exciting. This is the producer of this docuseries, Dr. Silas Rao. Hi, Silas.
Hello, Lisa. Hello, Thomas. It's a beautiful film, of course.
So nice to have you with us, both of you. Thomas, I'm sure people are eager to hear a little bit about you. So Thomas is the director, producer of this docuseries and of the original film that inspired it, called A Prayer for Compassion. So perhaps you could share a couple words about A Prayer for Compassion, and then a little bit more about this film, and we'll get the Q&A rolling. Oh, might need to unmute.
There we go. Yeah, for anybody who hasn't seen A Prayer for Compassion, it basically came out of a meditation. I had been vegan for about 8 years when my daughter was born, and then I saw Cowspiracy, which was produced by Dr. Rao, and when I saw that, it really disturbed me, and I just felt I had to do something but didn't know what to do. And A Prayer for Compassion is what came out of that. And then basically, I live in the woods and all this stuff, but somehow the universe opened all these doors. And in a prayer for compassion, you'll see I traveled around the United States. I went to Morocco to the UN climate change conference, and also to India for a couple of weeks. And for this docuseries, I got to go back with Dr. Rao for 3 weeks. I think you did 4 weeks in India. And so we have 2 whole episodes just of the return to India, because it was such an event-packed 3 weeks. I mean, it was hard, right? I know I was exhausted like halfway through it, but somehow we made it through it. So yeah. And I'm ready to answer any questions, and I'm just happy to be able to share it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Thomas. And Silas, did you have anything else you wanted to say before we jump into the questions?
No, it's been a wonderful journey, making this. I was surprised at how elaborate Thomas's work has been. He's really meticulously documented everything that happened during Prayer for Compassion screenings to create this docuseries. So I'm really inspired, Thomas, by the work that you do.
Ditto. As you'll see in the docuseries, like Silas just do the whole thing, and I've learned so much and been so inspired by just being able to follow him and document this and spend time with it and really absorb the information. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I love being able to see. It's almost like in the episode we just watched that we were behind the scenes with you, and we got to hear what was going on and see a little bit more of Melody. She was the superstar of the very first film. We got to see a lot more of her, which is really very sweet and endearing. So I think
it's funny. It's really quick. It's funny you mentioned that, because one of the reviews we got for A Prayer for Compassion, I asked the Bearded Vegans to review it because they do these amazing reviews, and their biggest comment was, "I wish we had more of him and his daughter." So I heard it, and it's throughout this whole piece. And it's funny because, the very beginning where it looks like we're setting up to do this prayer, and then that's where we break the fourth wall. The whole thing about that scene is to show you, okay, wait, we're watching a movie, and this is, yeah, and we're along for the ride, and you're seeing behind the scenes. Like, that's the whole docuseries is supposed to hopefully feel like that.
Oh, great. That's wonderful to know that I was right in sync with what you had in mind. Yeah. Well, we've got lots of questions here. So we'll start, and feel free, either Thomas or Silas, if you find a question that you'd like to start with or answer, you're welcome to do that too. So how can we use, this is a question from Lisa, who says, how can we use the materials or ideas for the factory farm experience? Is that a national tour type of show?
That was in Sarasota, the Sarasota Veg Fest. So I'm not sure. That was just that particular year. I haven't gone back. They're about to have another one. So maybe, actually, one of my missions is to find out who that gentleman was. I didn't get his name. So when I find that out, I'll try to find that information and somehow make that available to you, so you'll know if there's a way to follow up and let people know.
Good. Let's see. We have another question that has come in through the Q&A, which is, besides being vegan in food choices, what are some good companies to purchase clothing, household items, and etc. that are vegan?
You want to take that, Silas? Or?
I'm the wrong person to take that because I try to minimize my buying.
That's right. That's right. I want to say, Lisa, there's some resources in the vegan community, right? There's actually some websites that can help direct you to vegan companies, I think. And I know Jeff Adams is trying to, if you haven't heard of Vegan Linked, he has a great YouTube channel, and he also is working on linking all of these businesses, events, and all of this like in one place where people can go and find it. I know he's been doing a lot of work on the website recently, so that will eventually be a good source. But I would say it's so prevalent right now that you could just Google it You know, you can Google this information and several things will pop up. And yeah, if Victoria was here, I might ask her, because she has interviewed a lot of people on her podcast who have these kind of websites and do these kind of sell products and things like that. But I'm like Silas, I don't buy a lot of things unless it's equipment for making movies.
I think your suggestion of Googling is probably the best, because you can even Google vegan boots Amazon and you'll get like lots of them. Or if you have a specific company that you like to follow or brand, there's really just so much available. And even places like Target have a lot of vegan products that are what they call accidentally vegan. So there's lots available. The key thing is looking at the labels and trying to find the details when you're trying to purchase clothing, for example. If you look at the details, you'll see, oh, this is made of a vegan product, or this isn't. And if there's a word on there that you're not sure what it means, just pop it into the search and you'll find there's an answer. Is this vegan? Is, you know, whatever material vegan? And there'll be an answer for you. So that's one little trick.
And you'll come across some websites where there's I wish I just had, I've seen resources where there's people who break down all the cosmetics, like everything to do with hair products and all. They've done all the research, and I forget that lady's name, but there is a website for that out there. So the resources are there, because the main thing is people who are animal rights activists, and what you'll see in this documentary is that they are looking for every avenue possible to make this mainstream, normal. You know, people have this idea animal rights activists are angry and yelling and all this, but really they loving everybody. Like the people beside the road, when the pig trucks came, they were giving peace signs to the driver. They're not holding the drivers responsible, you know, and anytime they get a chance to talk to a driver, they'll talk to a driver. So some of the most loving people I've met are animal rights activists. So the resources are out there because people have a passion to make this available.
Thank you, Thomas. And Tom Porter, who is involved in film as well, he asks, what was your greatest challenge in making this film?
Lord have mercy. That'd be a big question. I'd say overall, if you look at the two films, it's learning. The biggest thing I've learned is patience. I mean, learning to trust that there is something underneath it. Like if you watch A Prayer for Compassion and you watch the docuseries, I didn't write this out and structure it out. Like when I went and shot it all and then sat down with it and looked at it, and even as I put it together, I'm not realizing how well it flows. And it had I almost feel like, you know, Alfred Hitchcock said that in narrative filmmaking, the director is God, but in documentary filmmaking, God is the director. Basically, it's the other way around. And that's been my experience, is learning to trust and let go and know there's a better story out there if I just document the experience and speak my truth and be present and be open and be vulnerable. Like all those things, like if you can do that and like document it, there's something, you know, you'll find it. Like with the Prayer for Compassion, it had a focus of spirituality and religion. Now you'll see in this docuseries, the focus shifts. It has some of that in there, but it also goes to what I didn't get to in A Prayer for Compassion, which is self-compassion and self-care, trying to encourage activists who burn out a lot because they're really motivated to take care of themselves, to eat better, to meditate, to sleep, to do all of these things, you know, like the better we feel, you know, I mean, you'll see it's like this evolution of how I became a vegangelist. At the very end, you'll hear me preaching the vegangelist message, which is basically, we all have a gift. We have this good news. We have the gospel to share with people, that the more you align yourself with your true compassionate nature, the better you're going to feel. And that message is developed through this process. We interviewed Dr. Melanie Joy about, she talks about shame during one of the conferences, and we interview her about self-care, and, you know, we interview people about effective communication, you know, and then there's more of that experiential, you're on the street at a protest with us, or you're on a march with us, you know, so it's mixed within. Somehow the universe knew how to write it in a way that all I did was just edit it, which was a lot. The biggest challenge, I guess, is just being willing to show up every day, knowing that there is an end one day, even when you can't see it at the beginning. I'm so like, there's still work to be done. I saw a question of when and will it be available? And this particular episode, I'm going to have finished up and ready to share on Friday. It's actually my dad's birthday, who passes away during the making of this docuseries, and you see that too. You know, so you go through this whole. I mean, you really. I'm letting you into this journey into the life of an activist, and the heartbreak of an activist of not, you know, not being able to reach your family as much as you try. Like, I'm trying to bring the Elixir home, and I took it all around the world, but I had the hardest time bringing it to the family, the people I was really trying to reach. So that's part of this series too. But so all of that's within there, which I could never plan. But on the to honor my dad's birthday, I'm going to release the first episode on Friday, and then I'm working on getting all the credits. At the hardest part I've got left. There's still a little bit of tweaking of tuning things up here and there, but mainly what I have to do on the rest of the episodes is getting the credits at the end, all the people in it, and making sure I get that right. Like, I have all the heavy lifting done except for getting the credits right. So soon as I get that done, and I'm hoping before March is out, I'm going to make the whole series available, and it'll be free. I'm going to have it on my thing. I think Jane or Unchained TV is going to have it. You know, it's going to be, it's basically, like I said, it's my gift to activists, to encourage them to love themselves and to believe and to follow their calling. That's the other message, to show you this guy living in the woods. You see me take these amazing adventures. Like, how did that happen? Well, I followed my calling, even when I had doubts. You see the doubts. So that I'm hoping this will be an inspiration for vegans who are not yet active to become active, and activists who already do it to become more effective and take better care of themselves. Long question or answer, but.
Well, thank you very much, Thomas. That was super helpful, your answer, and also understanding the part of the journey that's really personal for you as well, with your family, and how it's connected to even the name of the new docuseries. So thank you for letting us in to a little bit more about the process behind the scenes. So there's so many questions and comments. One, even just to follow up on a previous comment, was about trying to find a great link for vegan products and more. Thanks to Susan for sharing this one called veganparadise.org. So for anyone who's looking for vegan products and doesn't want to go through Amazon or any other large company, you can check that out. And there's so many wonderful comments in here, even people offering condolences to you, Thomas, and more. So
I'm putting a link to where you can see A Prayer for Compassion free if you haven't seen it, and you can share it with anybody you think would watch it. That's the other thing I'm hoping is, like, this is a very, let's have fun. When we're in India, I do go to a wet market. I don't see there's nothing really blood and guts in this at all. Like, it's very meant to be an easy pill to swallow and a fun pill to swallow, because although I made it as singing to the activists, I think some of their family may watch it with them or watch this episode or whatever. So I try to make it tolerable. But some of my thing is, I'm hoping people who haven't watched A Prayer for Compassion will be intrigued by the docuseries and go back and watch it. So, and both of these resources are there, and I just hope people will use them. Like, that's what they're there for, just to be tools for activists.
Thank you for clarifying that. I think it will inspire so many people who maybe didn't get to see the film originally. And also there's some very supportive feedback in here from the chat. Suzanne shares that, Thomas, you are succeeding, that she's an activist, and watching this evening, the film was food for her soul, which sometimes feels weary.
I can relate. We see so much as activists, we know so much, you know. It's my heart, that's why I say my heart goes out to activists, and please love yourself and take care of yourself, realizing that you can't solve it all. Like, you have to do your part, And to do your part, the better you take care of yourself, the more you're going to see your part. The more you meditate and you eat well and you rest, you're going to feel the callings. Like that's a big theme for me too. It's like all of this is a calling. And I had every reason to say no and to give up in so many times. And it's just after making a prayer for compassion, there was no, I saw like you just can't say no to the callings anymore. But that's my encouragement. It's like really be gentle with yourself so you can hear that gentle voice within you that's trying to guide you.
Thank you, Thomas. Also, there was a question I think you partially answered, which is, are you self-distributing this? And where and when will it be streaming? I know you mentioned Jane Unchained.
Yeah, I'm gonna, I haven't really finalized with them, but I'm gonna make it available. I'm gonna have a, on Vimeo, I'm gonna have links to it. I'm gonna have them do it. People can, I'm gonna have it in our website. You can go and watch it from the website. So I'm gonna make it embeddable in other people's websites. Like I was thinking, since plant-based news is part of it, they might want to share it in some way. Like before it's over with, we see so many wonderful activists, and hopefully they will be interested in sharing it as well, because the main thing is just to help activists know we're not alone. We all get that thing about the family. Oh my God, like I saw it over and over with everybody. You're going to hear somebody say it in the second episode, I think, where she's saying it in the thing about that's one of the hardest things, because you know these people are loving and compassionate and will give you the shirt off their back, yet they just can't make that connection. And that's some of the most painful heartache. So hopefully by sharing this, it'll let people know we're not alone, and that, you know, and let people know, like Silas would say many times, it's like, go for the people on the fence, you know, and get them over here. And then the more people will get on the fence. Like, don't go for those people on the other side of the gate or the other side of the fence, because they got a long way to go. Let's knock those people on the fence over, and they're getting more and more every day. This weekend, Saturday Night Live had Woody Harrelson on it, and at one point he said, "I'm a vegan." You know, it came out at least one time. You know, only saw parts of it, but so it's just really mainstream now. So people don't have to feel like they're odd or different anymore. It can be. I think that's going to be the turning point. The more we can normalize it, the more we can be present and be examples of healthy, centered, loving vegans, the more people are going to say, oh, all vegans are not like skinny, angry, mad at the world, but they're loving and they're kind, and they come in all shapes and sizes and colors, and you know, all kinds of, like, that's what I love about vegans. They're everywhere.
Yes, I'm curious if Beverly, if you'd like to join us and speak your question. It sounds like you've got your hand raised. Hi, Beverly. You can unmute if you'd like. Let's see. Hey, Beverly. Well, there you are. Go ahead and unmute yourself. You'll have to do that on your own. Thank you. So if you have a question, yeah, go ahead and let us know what your question is. I think she's here with us. Beverly, you're welcome to just share your question. I think you're unmuted and you're good to go if you'd like. Well, I think if you're welcome to join in. If you're not able to get the audio going, then we can hear from some other folks who had some questions. There's somebody, Anna, who says she has friends who have a cinema lounge in Tiburon, California, and they would love to have your film shown there.
Yeah, you know, not only you can, if you want to screen it, I can give you a link where you can download it and screen a good version of it. And also, if I'm available in Silas too, anybody associated with that film is pretty much open to doing a Q&A virtually if we're not nearby. And we have people in California like yourself and Bob Isaacson and people like that who are available for Q&As as well. Amadi May and people like that. So reach out to me. You can reach out to me at our website, aprayerforcompassion.com. And I can help you, direct you toward people if you want to have in-person Q&A guests from the film, or or if you want to do a virtual Q&A.
And also Jen is sharing that she's plant-based and has been for many years, and would like to say that one of the things that she struggles with is the message that the vegan diet is always the healthiest one. It may or may not be true. There's much vegan food out there that is highly processed. A plant-based diet full of processed food may not be better than a whole food diet, or a whole food diet may be more healthful. So she was concerned about that. So just wanted to
We get into that. Actually, the second episode, the first person we hear speaking is Dr. Greger. Talking about calorie density in foods, and it's discussed. I mean, it's not basically what was there and what happened is what you see, but I do encourage people to take care of themselves, to get their proper nutrition. Like, I don't know if I specifically said how bad vegan junk food is, but I do talk about it in Q&As a lot. Like, that's not a health food. It might be a treat, but it's not an everyday, your body's got to figure out what to do with it kind of thing. There's different levels too, you know, and there's people in the movement for different things. And that's why I try not to judge anybody where they're at and why they're here, but I try to encourage them for themselves, to feel better and to be, you know, the better you feel, the more your light shines and the more people are going to hear your message. So it's good to treat yourself to working out and to eating right and all of those things.
And we have Farley says, thank you for sharing your work. It definitely takes a village, and that's for sure. Always happy to help in any way. So people are feeling a lot of gratitude to you for sharing the link and for sharing what you've written, even making comments such as embracing you and your family with the healing and the loss of your father. So lots of compassion being shared in the chat box here. So just wanted to see if there's any other comments anyone wants to say. There may be a couple other questions. Just we'll check that out. Let's see.
By the way, I saw somebody, sounds like they didn't know Woody Harrelson was vegan, but he's been vegan a long time. Like, he's been, you know, I mean, he's not super outspoken, but he's never shied away from it.
And this other question, I think we answered Jen's question, or at least brought it to the forefront. And then for Breyer, asks about cell ag and looks forward to seeing these products ready for people, but more for animal food. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I agree. Better for the animals than for people. I don't think it's going to be the healthiest thing.
Mm-hmm.
I see the list of all the different vegan people. You can add Joan Jett to that list. I'm finishing up a short film I made, and Joan Jett gave us permission to use her poster in the film because it's about a young girl in the 80s who is a big Joan Jett fan. And so we've got quite a great bit of rock stars who are vegan. Brian May from Queen, all kinds of people. Chrissy Hines, I think, and the Pretenders.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's very, very exciting. And I encourage everyone, this was really like a preview of what's to come. I mean, this is episode 1. So hopefully we had the honor to share this episode with everyone for Activist Appreciation Month through In Defense of Animals. And this has really been such a pleasure. And you can see the rest of the episodes. Thomas is going to be sharing those publicly and making sure that you can dive even more deeply into this docuseries.
Yeah, our Facebook page, I'll be posting everything. We have a Prayer for Compassion Facebook page at Compassion Movie, and then my personal, and then there's the Compassion Project has a one too. But either any of those will be, as soon as they're available, that'll be the first place. Or you can probably, when you watch this on Vimeo, you can probably subscribe to us on Vimeo or something like that. And we'll let people know that way too. So, or they'll let you know, I think.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all this information. We're excited to be able to tune into the rest of the series. Just a couple maybe closing comments, because we've really enjoyed our experience here with everyone and got a chance to go to the movies together, which is so fun. Wanted to see Silas. Is there anything else you want to say before we close out tonight?
No, thank you so much for hosting this, Lisa. It's important to get this message out.
Yes, my pleasure. I'm happy to see this film get out far and wide, and just completely support your work, Thomas. It's been such a pleasure. And how about you, Thomas? Any last words?
Just thank everybody for being here, and I really hope that you get something out of the series. And please reach out if you do get something, and or if you have comments or anything like that, please. I'd like to hear from people, so feel free to reach out on Facebook or at our website.
Excellent. So I think we'll take that as our opportunity to close out this wonderful, one of our last events for Activist Appreciation Month. And I will say you can still go to the webpage. It's active at idausa.org/activist month. And from there, you can actually check out all of the different things that we offer this whole month long. We did a activist for the, I think it was called a soulful activist, actually, a retreat for a soulful activist with Jillian Walters. That's available on that webpage. You can still check it out, even though it's already happened. And we had a wonderful conversation with James Hattersley from We the Free about activist support, and the replay is also available. And very soon, the replay for this event will be there as well. So you can always check out those events and all the resources that are up there and see what we've had going on. So I'm just super grateful. This is like the grand finale, and I've been waiting all month for this, Thomas, and such a delight to have you and our surprise special guest, Dr. Silas Rao, tonight to kind of give us some more of the inside scoop about this film particularly, and about the docuseries. So thank you to everyone. We hope that you've enjoyed this experience and have a wonderful evening, and spread the word. This is our opportunity to share all about this great docuseries, all about compassion in action, but really what goes on behind the scenes with animal activists worldwide. So thanks to everybody for joining. Thanks to Thomas and Silas, and we'll have a nice Namaste Vegan as our closing. And we hope everybody enjoys their evening tonight. Take care. Thanks so much.
Good night.
Good night. Peace to all beings.